You may have seen Stampin' Up's die that cuts a candy box. That cuts a little nicer box and just a small bit larger than this, 1/8 of an inch larger than this one. But we're going to do this without a die. A single sheet of paper will give us 4 boxes of the smallest size. Cut your paper at 9 and 4 1/2, 4 1/4 down the middle. This is the paper that we're going to be working with. Here's my piece, cut to 4 1/2 by 4 1/4. I'm going to score it at 1, 2, 3, and 4, leaving this 1/2 inch tab to glue. And I'm going to turn it this way and score it at 1 1/4 and 3. We've done these 4 creases this way and these 2 creases this way. The next step is the diagonal creases at each end. You can make an X, but that's an extra step. You'll need to work on a surface that's somewhat forgiving. You can't do this on a flat table. And you'll need a ruler. I have a piece of black foam here. I'm going to line up my ruler with the intersection between these 2 creases. I'm going to offset it a little bit because I need to leave enough room for my scoring tool to come through. You want your scored mark to go from the intersection to the corner. I'm going to move it over here. I'm even going to place my tool right into the intersection so I only have to line up the other end and right on up. And the last set of creases that we need to score are these that come down in the middle on the ends. Because their sides are 1 inch wide, we need to put the score mark at the 1/2 inch line. Now, I'm going to turn my paper over. You want your tab to still be on the other end. And now all of our score marks are made. We can begin folding. I'm using my bone folder. I'm going to crease everything carefully to the front. I'll crease all of the vertical and horizontal lines to the front. Then I'm going to turn it over and crease all the horizontal and vertical lines to the back. And getting these diagonals is somewhat tricky. I'm going to put a fingernail right in the middle of the diagonal, pull it toward me, and crease just to the fold mark. Keep that on the other side, and then I'm going to turn it over and do it again the other way. The more flexible these folds are, the better your box will fold up. And having done that, I'm going to pick my paper up, find that middle crease here, and just pinch it back and forth. Either before or after you fold, we're going to need to cut off this top corner. This makes your flap, and these little bits of paper don't get in the way when you're folding your box shut. Get rid of those. And here's a nifty tip. If your glue is inclined to jam up, take a T-pin, tie a piece of ribbon on it so that when you drop it on the floor you don't lose it. This makes a really good glue opener. Then we're going to make sure that the glue comes pretty close to that fold on our flap here. Pull the box over, press that. Let your glue dry for a moment or two before we try. To close the box, we're going to follow these diagonals that we scored and creased very, very thoroughly. Squeeze the end of the box together and twist on those crease marks, and it should pretty much just open right up by itself. And there we go. One thing you can do to make this look a little bit more like a candy box is to use some pinking scissors along the ends. You need to do that before you start creasing. You can see it'll make your paper a little bit narrower, and you need these marks to be exactly 1/8 from the end of your paper. Following the same score patterns, but beginning with different dimensions of paper, we can make different sizes of boxes. For this one, from a full-size sheet of paper, you can get 2 boxes. You're going to cut your paper first at 6.5 inches this way and at 5.5 inches this way. The first set of score lines are going to be at 1.5, 3, 4.5, and 6. And you're going to turn it. Your second set of score lines are going to be at 1.25 and 4. After you've done your diagonal creases, you're going to come back and score at 3/4, 2.25, 3 3/4, and 5.25. And then proceed to fold just like we did before. For the larger box that begins with an 8.5 inch square, you're going to crease first at 2, 4, 6, and 8. Then this way at 2.25 and 6.25. Then your diagonal creases to the diagonal will be at 1, 3, 5, and 7.